Our first speaker is Mr. D.K. Kim. He's a specialist mediator with the National Chamber of Commerce. He's the head of legal and governance at Macquarie Asset Management Group, and his team was recognized as the in-house team of the year in banking and financial services by the Asian Legal Business in 2019. Also, I'm made to understand that Mr. Kim is also an avid motorcyclist and a cello player. So, Mr. Kim?
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Selamat petang. Assalamualaikum, namaste, namaskar. 大家好, konbanwa, annyeong, om mani padam. I will go straight to the point due to the time constraint. Nick Murder, the 20th century European and international historian at Cornell University, described the economic sanction as the economic weapon, a tool of modern war. I, all-time in-house dilettante historian, professional lawyer, Macquarie Asset Management, said economic sanction as the seed of the bigger war. One Russian political scientist recently described the impact of the sanctions on Russia as 30 years of economic development thrown into the bin. Initially, sanctions were created to avoid a conflict on the scale of the bigger war. In a very globalized world with a lot of trade, finance, and cross-border interaction, it was considered so powerful that it had a potential war-stopping or war-dissuading capacity. However, paradoxically, sanctions made the war bigger. We need to look back to look forward, because act of human has changed little. When you see Megarian Decree, economic sanction BC 432 by Athens to Megara, you can see the future of these days US-driven sanctions. Before watching the Megara, let me remind you of the ancient Greek world after Persian War. As you know, the united Greek world successfully defended against Persian invasion. After the Persian War, Hellenistic world was divided into two leagues. Spartans led Peloponnesian leagues and Athenian leads Delian League. In conclusion, Spartan allies defeated Athenian allies. We called it the Peloponnesian War, an Athenian perspective. After that, Peloponnesian League collapsed. Thus, Athens and Sparta, G2 in the Asian Hellenistic world, entirely collapsed. And it was started by Athens' economic sanction against Megarian. Now let's see where Megara is. This map shows the bottom of the Balkan Peninsula. Here is the Megara, a Spartan ally. As you can see, Attica is where Athens is located, and Laconia is where Spartan is, and Argolis, Spartan ally, Arcadia, Athenian ally, and Corinthian Christian will be familiar, Spartan ally, Boeotia, Spartan ally, and lastly, Macedonia, the outback state of the Asian Hellenistic world, which was an Athenian ally. Now let's see the Megara from the top with eagle's eye. A view from the top of Megara is fantastic, which shows you the geopolitical importance of Megara. Did you hear the something? Athenian navy is coming. Oh gosh! You can spot where the Athenian ally is coming. So let's activate our imagination. Let's wear Megarian shoes. We can spot they are coming. There are different versions of backgrounds of Megarian Decree, but let me simplify and follow Sion Nanami's version, which is most simple. Corinthian recommended Megara exit Delian League and join Peloponnesian League. As soon as Athens knew this, they made an economic sanction against Megara, which effectively blocked Megara from trading in any port within the Delian League, isolating the city and greatly damaging its economy. As you can see from the map, Athens ruled the sea and Spartan lead the land. The decree attempted to solve a problem without breaking 30 years peace with Sparta. According to our play, the Arcadians, the decree left the Megarian slowly starving and caused them to appeal to the Spartan for aid. The Spartans were upset and asked Phytius at Delphi whether it would be wise to go to war against Athens. According to Thucydides, the god replied that if they fought with all their might, victory would be theirs, and that he himself would be on their side, whether they invoked him or not. Paradoxically, the attempt to avoid war originated the allies to commence the war. And what's next? The Athenian leader Pericles died of the plague in the middle of the war. After that, the notorious populist Cleon was elected as leader of democracy, who is strongly advocated for offensive war strategy and is infamous for cruelty. As a result, Athens was defeated by the Spartans. Thucydides mentioned Cleon as the most violent man in Athens, a popular leader of the time, very powerful with the multitude. Cleon and Brasidas, who had been two principal opponents of peace on either side. No offense, but Cleon reminds us of someone in the US. Yes, you're fired. What's next? Spartan has fallen as well, and a young guy from ancient outback Macedonia conquered the Hellenistic world, Alexander the Great. This is all about negatively weaponizing the economy in the form of sanctions by cutting off access to resources and depriving economies of them. But we could also positively weaponize the economy for human rights by pooling resources, securing them from places, pulling them together and provide them to the victims of aggression. So in this case, that would be Ukraine. They do need a lot of economic aid, but also eventually to create a positive sum dynamic in the world economy, where if you had large enough coalition pooling resources and distributing them to those in need, they would be less distraught and less geopolitically uncertainty and instability to begin with. So eventually, this would have war-reducing effects, war which has become less prevalent if there was more prosperity and more proactive economy, financial and logistical aid to begin with. Everyone talked about deglobalization at this year's Davos Forum because globalization is fragile and requires concrete cooperation and effort to stabilize it. I would like to ask fundamentally, is it possible to unwind from the connected world? I don't think so. Everything is connected. Buddha said, if this exists, that exists. If this ceases to exist, that also ceases to exist, which is dependent origination and the fundamental doctrine in Buddhism. The basic principle that is all things arise in dependence upon other things. I would like to conclude my presentation with oponopono. What is needed is compassion. Oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian prayer which means I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I wish Ho'oponopono upon among the US, Russia, China, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, Venezuela, and North Korea. May Ho'oponopono be with you. Thank you for listening, and please scan this QR code if you are interested in my presentation. There are many interesting articles and posts. Let's be connected for the greater good. The minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.